day went straight further from God's light. So now here's nuggets with God.
So here's the situation. We have some pretty cool graphics around our church. Pretty cool kind of series we go through, and there's always a graphics pack associated with the series. So Pastor Ricky got the bright idea, let's throw that on a t-shirt, and so we did. Got a pretty good impact, I'd say. Maybe sold like 50 t-shirts, and basically just sold them enough to cover the cost and maybe throw a little extra money in the coffee fund for moi. And then, one thing kind of led to another, and he wanted to do another run of t-shirts, but this time he wanted to add like a red color shirt with white ink, which original shirt was black with white ink. It started getting a little confusing, and I'm gonna tell you why. Before I became a purveyor of all things Microsoft Paint, I worked in a t-shirt shop. And mostly in art design, but I actually worked on the floor some, printing shirts. And so I have a couple of nuggets for you. When starting t-shirt e-commerce and or brick and mortar, like selling right here in our lobby, what to expect, how t-shirt design works, how t-shirt printing works, how to sell, distribute, ship, all that good stuff. So the first thing to consider is your initial investment. So if you think about this, you have one design, but you have to carry a couple sizes. So let's say small, medium, large, extra large, and 2 extra large. So now we have 5 sizes. Well, we got to carry a couple of each size because, there's a lot of people. One person gets it, next person wants to get it. Next thing you know, so now we have, let's say we get 10 of each. So that's 50 shirts you have to carry. 50 shirts, that'll fit in a box about yay big, no big deal, right? And while that is correct, think about your investment. You have paid between $6 and $10 for that shirt. Whether it's like a run-of-the-mill Jerseys or Hanes or whatever it is, or like a Next Level or Bella, which is like your premium kind of fashion brand, super comfy. It's what everyone wants, especially in a church environment. You're gonna pay between $6 and $10 per shirt. So keep that in mind. That's what you have in this very small run, very limited run in this box of 50 shirts. So now the super technical part of how t-shirts get printed. Most printing is digital these days. Like if you were to print a pamphlet or a trifold, it'd be a process print. There's 4 colors, sometimes 5, sometimes 6, but for the most part, CMYK. The first head will go by and lay down yellow, and the next one will go by and lay down just enough magenta to turn that whatever color it needs to be, and so on. So the printer actually can translate any color into print based on 4 colors and a combination of which. Silk screening is not process printing. It is quite literally the color you see is the color you get. So if I wanted to print, let's say this was a 3-color shirt. Let's say these little dots were blue, this was white, and this was red. They would have to go under one head, get the white printed, under the next head, get the blue printed, under the next head, get the red printed. So there's no process. You don't have an unlimited color palette. You were literally limited by the number of heads on the machine, which the shop I worked at was 6 heads, which realistically translates to 5 colors. It's kind of confusing. I won't get too much into the details of what heads do what, because some of them have heaters to flash a color so that it dries so it doesn't get stuck to the next head. They all do different things. They all have their purpose. The point is, you're basically limited to 4 colors. Each one of those colors multiplies the cost of that shirt because there's a setup and a teardown for every screen, every ink color. So if there's an ink charge for white, now you got an ink charge for red and blue. So now that $6 shirt probably just became more like a $10 shirt just because you wanted to add multiple colors. So keep that in mind. Also, shirt color itself. If I wanted to print my red, white, and blue logo, but I also want a red shirt, now I have to switch the ink color, which means, and this is why color process versus traditional silk screening is important. Let's say I wanted to change the red to green for some reason. They would have to take that entire silk screen out, clean off the ink, wash it, put green ink, and then reload it and realign it with the machine. So there's a setup and a teardown associated with every color change. That's why you see a color change charge typically when you have an ink color change. Going back to the original point though, I think Theodore just farted. Going back to the original point though, I have a box of 50 shirts because I had to multiply my one design on a 1-color shirt. So 1 color on 1 color times 5 sizes. I had 10 roughly of each, so 50 shirts. So now think about this. I moved that same design, white ink, onto a red shirt. Now I have to multiply that all again to accommodate for what people might want and what size they need. So the more designs you have on the more colors, it quite literally compounds exponentially how much inventory you have to carry. In addition to multiple sizes, multiple colors, multiple ink colors, now let's talk different garments. So we've already established that a black t-shirt with a white design, you need at least 50 shirts to get going, right? We've established that. Red shirt with the same design, we're also gonna need 50 shirts. It's starting to get a little crazy now. Oh, could I have that in a hooded sweatshirt? Maybe a nice crew neck? Okay, now we're talking multiplying your inventory times a whole different garment altogether. Like this, I have my logo here on my chest, on my back. I have the exact same thing on the shirt underneath it, in the front and the back. Easy enough for them to manufacture, easy enough for me, because it's just me, I'm the only person that wears this. For you, now you have a whole nother level of SKUs. So I not only have this t-shirt in black and red with white ink, but now I'm gonna have to have it in a black hoodie with white ink and a red hoodie with white ink. And oh, by the way, there's unisex sizes and there's female sizes. What do your people want? The point is, keep it simple. Pastor Ricky wanted to sell them right behind our welcome center, right over here, in boxes. That's cool. Now I have to find a volunteer who's dedicated to running the iPad with the point of sale, which is a whole different thing, and to shuffle through all these shirts when someone says I need a 2X on the red with that one particular design. Now they gotta dig through that box and find them. So it just became a whole thing. Once we sold a few of those shirts, he decided, well, let's put them on our church's website. Again, that's a whole different thing. Is your website able to accommodate e-commerce sale? Once they swipe that credit card, where is it going? Is it going to a popular processing like Stripe or Square or PayPal? Are they taking a percentage? Do I have to raise the price now? Are we gonna ship it directly to people or tell them it's ready at the welcome center when they get here? If you are gonna ship, are you gonna build that into the cost of the shirt, or are you going to charge the customer? Very interesting studies out there show that people, if they think they're getting free shipping, even if the shirt costs twice as much, they're gonna go with free shipping. You give them something free, same exact thing, they're gonna go for free every time. Likewise, is your church or nonprofit set up to ship things via UPS, FedEx, USPS? In my experience, USPS, great for small things. Timing, reliability, not so great. FedEx, decent across the board. UPS is going to be way too expensive to ship individual shirts. So keep that in mind as well. Another piece of selling anything, whether it's for-profit or non-profit, is going to be customer service. So what's your policy going to be when somebody brings back that XL and says, you know, this is a fashion-forward cut, it's a little too big, I need a 2XL. 2XLs cost more. So a 2XL will typically cost you $1 or $2 more per shirt, because that's what it costs the shirt manufacturer to make a much larger shirt, which then charges the printing company, which then is going to charge you. Are you going to upcharge them for swapping it out? What if they bring it back and say there's a little hole in it I didn't see when I bought it? You can return it. You can't necessarily return it now. It's too late to return it to the print shop. So what are you going to do? You have that built into your cost as well. On the subject of customer service, that leads me to probably one of the more important points of this video, where you're getting these things printed. So a lot of people think that printing is an easy thing. You can just buy a heat press and some kind of die machine to cut out a design. Vinyl heat press is a terrible process. Stay away from it. End of story. The other options are big national print shops, like I think 4imprint does some screen printing, Jack Prints, which is out of Cleveland, Ohio. And there's a couple other ones online where you can go drop your design in and they'll charge you and it'll show up on your doorstep. Local, however, in my experience, not just because I used to work at a local print shop, is always going to be better. They're going to work with you on price, quality, speed. They're going to find out what you need, why you need it, how you need it, and they're going to accommodate. Whereas a large print shop, you're not going to talk to a rep. You drop your artwork in where they say drop your artwork, you select your quantities, you select your colors, boom, it's gone. Comes in, wow, this looks terrible, designs are crooked, washed out, looks bad, what do I do? I don't really know. How am I supposed to get in touch with somebody there? Go through their Facebook channel maybe, contact us on their website. It's all very hairy. Where I worked, you actually talk to a person. You work with the same rep the entire way through the process, which, by the way, the main guy there, his name is Nick, and he is incredibly meticulous about how each garment is aligned, ink colors, making sure it's exactly what the customer communicated they wanted before it ever gets into the box. Another point is that there are companies out there, I think one's called Printful, which you upload your design and then they drop ship one-offs for you. My only problem is they cut into your profit and you get the same kind of quality and reliability as the big print shops. So it may or may not come on time. It may or may not be as nice or crisp or good looking as it was in the photo. It's kind of up to them, and they're probably subcontracting that out to the local guys anyway. So all you're doing is adding a level to this kind of distribution chain, just adding, well, actually taking away profit at every stage. The point of all this is that it can be profitable to make and sell t-shirts, especially for nonprofits and churches. However, complexity is the enemy of execution. The more designs, the more colors, the more ink colors, the more garment types, and the more, let's say, gender specific clothing you add, the more complex it gets. I would strongly recommend starting with one color shirt, unisex, one color ink, one design. See how it sells. Don't go committing to a bunch of inventory that you don't even know if you can sell.
Every day we stray further from God's light. So now here's